This is a 2-minute introduction to the audio-described version of We Make Tomorrow Summit by Julie's Bicycle. The film is a mini-documentary showing moments from the summit and hearing from various participants and organisers of the event. As they speak, we see clips of seated audiences watching and listening to musicians, poets, panel discussions and presentations. There are also moments when standing audiences gather in a hall where stilt walkers and other acts perform around them. Each interviewee sits facing the camera with 3 large windows behind them. The interviewees in order of appearance are Nick Merriman, Chief Executive of Horniman Museum and Gardens. Nick is a white man in his early 60s with neat grey-brown hair and a blue jacket. Karishma Rafferty, Curator at Somerset House. She's a light-skinned woman who looks in her early 30s with shoulder-length, slightly curly brown hair pinned back, gold hoop earrings and a grey jacket. Abel Selaocoe, a cellist. He is a dark brown-skinned man with shoulder-length black locks and wears a top with colourful red and yellow geometric embroidery on it. Farhana Yamin, climate lawyer and justice activist. She looks to be in her late 50s and has light brown skin and silver-white hair in shoulder-length waves. She wears a dark purple gilet over a colourful blouse. Sam Lee, a musician in the Nest Collective. He's a white man in his early 40s with messy grey-brown hair and wears a green plaid shirt. Bones Tan Jones is an artist. They are Eurasian, in their mid-20s, with tan skin and very short brown hair. They wear a black hoodie with blue ties at the neck and spirals and words painted on it. Bones' face is painted white with a green tree growing up their nose and across their forehead. Richard Ashton, General Manager of Opera North. Richard is a white man in his early 50s. He has very short dark hair and wears a grey suit jacket and pale pink shirt. First, we hear from poet and playwright Laurie Ogden reciting poetry to a concert hall audience. Laurie is a white woman in her 20s with long, wavy ginger hair. Julie's Bicycle. We Make Tomorrow Summit. Laurie Ogden.
Gifts I do not want to give my daughter. A Disney action figure of every animal that no longer walks the earth. A gas mask to keep out the thick air that trails the school route with heavy smoke fingers. The mask will be green, of course, to match her school uniform. A signed confession admitting that I did not act, I did not change, I don't know why. A question mark over her future.
Nick.
This is the year where we have to begin to make a difference, and arts and creativity can have a fundamental role.
Karishma.
Today is a really important coming together of speakers and performances, all kind of centred around how the cultural sector kind of responds to the climate emergency.
Abel.
We all devote ourselves with all our uniqueness together to speak up on the one thing that affects all of us.
Farhana.
It's not just an event with a few experts, but it's peppered and littered throughout with creative, disruptive interventions and poetry and music, which is fantastic.
Sam.
When confronting big ideas, having music to open the heart first, to release you into the real hard recognition of what you don't really want to have to hear is very profound. I feel like the head changing that we need is going to be led by the heart and music.
Abel.
Brian Eno, he spoke about some things that make artists realize how important we are. Sometimes we don't know how important we are, and I think he made that really clear, what we can do and how also we should all keep playing and discovering all the time. And this is the way to really keep, our world alive.
Nick.
I think one of my highlights has been the prevalence of the word love. We often don't talk about love when we think about things like climate and ecology. In my own organisation, the Horniman, we're using the word love in terms of love of the next generation.
Bones.
I offered a ritual performance where we all tied knots together and a lot of people became connected through the knot magic, and that was my aim.
Farhana.
We were asked to tie together string, which was magically hidden under our seats, then created a kinship, a group of collected people. So it was a really nice way of forging connections.
Sam.
I'm going to misquote the old, it's the second best time to plant a tree is today, the best time was 20 years ago. We couldn't be planting more of these sorts of events, really. They are so vital for those in the room, those watching online, to take those extra steps.
Karishma.
Imagine the kind of next 10 years and the challenges that we face. Having spaces like this that are almost kind of safe and nurturing, led by artists, led by creatives, spaces that we can imagine and take a couple of steps into what that full-on social, political, everything change might look like, feels really heartening.
I have learned new things today. A lady called Zamzam who spoke about the environment and us being conscious about it should be about all of us rather than the West. And that's one thing that didn't come up to my mind at first, but now that I think about it, it's happening now, and people need to be accommodated now in places of poverty as well.
Richard.
The number of young people that have spoken today and that have considerable interest and influence in climate emergency, we really need to wake up as an industry. We need to work together and ensure that ours and their future is sustainable.
Groups gather and talk. DJs spin decks. Musicians perform. We make tomorrow. With special thanks to our interviewees and everyone who contributed to the We Make Tomorrow Summit. Soundtrack by Cosmo Sheldrake. Supported by Arts Council England. Julie's Bicycle, Creative Climate Action. www.juliesbicycle.com @juliesbicycle. The audio description was by S. Grange for Vocalize.